Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Michael from MRCA. Today we have an interesting session here with us. So we're going to be live now. We'll be streaming as well. I just have a quick introduction of myself and also the four invited speakers. My name is Michael Liew. I'm from Mary Brown. I'm doing a fast food. I'm also a counsel of MRCA. So we are a retail chain association. So we are here to talk about driving double-digit sales growth using AI marketing strategy. So with us today, we have a very interesting guest. Well, the first one is from Fusionex, the MD, Mr. Jacob Isaac. He'll be sharing with us how do we use AI marketing using the big data and analytics from the experts of his company to explain to use it in our sales growth. I'm sure this is a very interesting topic because a lot of us are a bit confused and on how to use this part in our business. For me, it's pretty much the same as well. But we don't need to know the nitty-gritties about this technology, but we need to know more about how to implement it in our business, something easy, right? So he will explain to us in a very easy way. Second and third speaker is actually from a food retailer. The second one is actually Mr. Alex Chong, the owner of Makan Culture. Okay, so he'll be sharing with us how he's moving from his restaurant business to promoting his products into this e-commerce platform using AI. And third speaker is actually Mr. Terry Lee, the CEO of VMS Organics, talking about wellness and a natural food. He promotes on that. He's a very interesting person. He has also did a new business during this pandemic as well, which I would love to hear more on his, I think it's called personalized farming. There's a big hype going on in KL. You should ask more of this to him. And the last speaker is actually Mr. Darren Teoh, a publisher of a magazine called the Page magazine. It talks about SME entrepreneurs and promotes about these successful players and businessmen and highlight how they move on and to become successful in their own industry. So let's welcome our first speaker, Mr. Jacob Isaac.
Hi guys, hi. Hi everyone, hi. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Excellent. So thanks for the introduction, Michael, and it's good to see everyone here. My name is Jacob and I'm the Managing Director for Fusionex, a company that specializes in artificial intelligence and data analytics. So today, the context of discussion and forum would be surrounding AI and analytics for marketing. specifically how we can help grow revenues by double digits or optimize operational expenses by double digits as well. So in today's climate, the pandemic is very disruptive. I probably don't have to expound a lot on that because you probably already know about that. You've experienced that as a vendor, as a supplier, as a customer. And we know that traditional retail, traditional businesses are struggling. And the way moving forward is to go online. To have an online e-store is the way moving forward. To create a very attractive and super sexy website. But at the same point of time, once you've created the website, what is more important is to bring the right traffic to view the website, bringing the right people, creating the right marketing campaigns, and ultimately creating the right conversions. And that is what AI marketing is all about. Traditionally, if you look at how businesses have run their marketing campaigns, it's based on gut feel. They engage a bunch of executives who are very experienced in the space of marketing, and they would discuss and identify what are the various channels they should invest in marketing, what would be the marketing content, and who they should reach out to. And they use very traditional methods like market research, surveys, and based on experiences and gut feel. In a sense, it's based on experience, which is very hard to quantify and very hard to replicate as well. Today, we are very fortunate as we are flush with all different types of technologies today. Data analytics, artificial intelligence, and to identify how we can run marketing campaigns a bit better, a bit more effective. Ultimately, the objective of AI-powered marketing is to achieve three objectives. One is to encourage conversion. Second is to optimize conversion costs. And third is actually to see how we can increase revenue. So by achieving these three, any marketing executive, any business would be happy with the strategy that you apply upon. If you look at in the past, how we have struggled through marketing, there are a few questions that are key in making decisions for marketing. And number one would be how much I need to spend. So how much do we really need to spend in our businesses? Is it 500,000 in terms of marketing? Is it 1 million, or is it just 50,000 a month? So that's a golden question that needs to be answered. More importantly, where do we spend? If I have a budget of 1 million, where do I spend this 1 million? Is it broken down by 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, or 100,000 each, or 200,000 per piece? What's the split like across different marketing channels? Because marketing can be spent across different channels, such as traditional media, whether it's printed media, whether it's online media, or whether it's billboards. There are just so many options. So securing the budget is a challenge. The bigger challenge is, now that I've secured the budget, where do I spend to bring the right yield, to ensure that I've got the right returns? And again, you can do that using very traditional methods based on people's experiences and experts around, which is effective, but unfortunately not very replicable and very hard to quantify in terms of its efficiency. But today with data analytics and AI, you can easily quantify that, and you can replicate the same engine, the same methodology for many years to come. And with machine learning, it just gets better and better as time goes by. So even if the prediction and prescription is not very accurate on day one, you will definitely improve, and things will just get better as time goes by, as you build and cultivate a very intelligent AI model. Because at the end of the day, data is objective, it is unbiased, it's got no feelings, it's totally based on historical trends and records, based on math, based on data science. So the job over here is to use AI and to use disruptive technologies like analytics to see how we can predict how much revenue we can accumulate if we were to spend X amount in terms of marketing funds. Again, it's about X and Y. If we call X as your investment and Y as your returns, how much do I have to spend in terms of X to get Y returns? Because every business has a target in terms of revenue. So they're looking to achieve 10 million, 1 billion in terms of revenues or GMVs. So in order to achieve Y as the end result, how much do you have to spend in terms of X? I think that's a golden question that marketing execs and marketing strategies would find it challenging to answer, to quantify. Ultimately, business owners, the board of directors and stakeholders are willing to spend in marketing funds. but they are always curious to know that if I spend 1 million, how much do I get in return? It's okay if I'm getting 10 million in return, for example, or maybe 5 million, or maybe not. But if I'm spending 1 million and I'm getting 500,000 in return, maybe that's not such a sound strategy. So using AI and data analytics, today you can very accurately predict if you were to spend X, how much you're going to get in terms of Y. And reversingly, you can actually know that if you want to obtain Y as your revenue targets or your GMV, you need to spend X. So how cool is that, right? With AI, you can predict that with sheer accuracy, and it just gets better and better to help you identify how much you need to invest. That is first and foremost. How much you're going to get in terms of expected revenue, which is very important. And no less important is what are the channels I should focus on. So if you have, let's say, a marketing budget of 50,000 a month or 100,000 a month, so how do you spend that split? Do you spend it on Google? Do you spend it on YouTube? Do you spend it on Facebook? Do you spend it on WhatsApp? Do you spend it on text messages, email, broadcasting? Where do you spend this? And what's the split like? Is it like 10%, 15%, 20%? Or is it flat across that we're just guessing it should be 10% each? And more importantly, when do we spend that kind of investments, and who do we target? Do we spend it in the afternoon and do the blastings in the afternoon, or do we do the blastings in the evening or in the mornings? Or it should be maybe personalized, where certain people get your digital content in the morning. Some people, when they are a bit more free, they have a bit more bandwidth, they should get your marketing content delivered to them in the evening, or whether it's late at night. So everyone has a different timeline as to when they have a bit more bandwidth to digital content. And there are just so many ways to reach out to different customers, to different targeted segments, that it can be very biased if it is one or two executives who are deciding on that. But if it is based on data, historical trends and patterns, the data does not lie. So those are the key things that AI-powered marketing seeks to achieve in terms of overall results. So it's all about dollars and cents. How much do we spend? How much do we get? And where do we spend? Those are the key things. Adding to that, my last point here today is really to help you understand that in order to do this successfully, there is a secret recipe to this. And the secret recipe is, well, it's not just that you have to use data clearly, but the secret recipe is that you have to have executive ownership that is singular. So what I mean by that is, in a business, you have people who look at IT, you have people who look at marketing, you have people who look at operations, you have people who look at accounting, finance, you have people who look at analytics. And these could be very different departments. For example, the guy who's looking at IT might be just looking at your e-commerce store. So he owns the e-commerce store. And then there might be a second guy who actually looks at analytics, and he's more analytics driven. He's not the head of IT. So that's two different people. And then you have the third guy who looks at marketing. So this could be three different people, and that's fine. But ultimately, the ultimate ownership must be enveloped up to one singular decision maker, someone whom you can choke his neck. And I'll explain why. It's because these three streams, marketing, the e-store, and analytics, has to be done hand in hand. It has to be implemented in unison, hand in hand, so that everything is consistent and there are no finger pointing exercises where we blame one another when the results are less than ideal. So to bring this and to give you a bit more context, when you have an e-store, it's important that the e-store looks very sexy, it's very friendly, it looks really great, it's got great graphics, the navigation is very smooth. And at the same point of time, the e-store has to be constantly improvised. You have to have analytics within the veins of the e-store, your online e-commerce, so that you understand how people are using the online e-commerce e-store all the time. What pages are they viewing? What are they not viewing? And ultimately, you need to improvise your online e-store based on those footprint and based on those analytics. And marketing has to ride hand in hand with your e-store to ensure that it delivers the right content to the right people, it's got the right graphics, it's positioned in the right places. So as you can see, if this is not done in unison, when you have great marketing material and great marketing content push out to the relevant people in the market, to your targets, to your targeted audience, if they visit on your online e-store and they find the e-store is very clumsy, it's not friendly at all. So ultimately what could happen is that there will be no transactions. The conversion would be minimized because whilst the marketing is very successful to bring traffic online to your e-commerce store, but because of the user experience and the UX UI, conversion doesn't happen. Similarly, if your e-stores are very good today and marketing strategies are very well done as well, so these two pillars are successfully implemented, but it's not improvising as time goes by. So it becomes obsolete because you don't really understand how your customers, how your potentials are using the website. So without analytics, the website will slowly be obsolete and the AI-powered marketing engine by itself will not be able to bring the results that you are looking for. So these three, we can call them the tripod, where there must be a singular executive department or personnel that holds the ownership for the e-store, for AI-powered marketing, and also analytics. If you have this done in unison, then you have a great chance of having it to be a very successful online business. Thank you.
This is a very interesting summary and talk from Mr. Jacob. So let's move on to our second speaker. So if you have any questions, our participants, please feel free to ask us and post it in the group chat in here. Then we will pick it up and we will ask the speakers by the end of this sharing session. So let's move on to Mr. Alex Chong. Alex, are you there?
Hi everyone, I'm here. Can everyone hear me? Loud and clear? Hi. So, hi everyone, my name is Alex Chong and I am from MBA Cruise in Berhad, which is also the company that owns Makan Culture, Lele, and there's another brand called Sakura Crystal. So I have 15 outlets and pardon me because I'm doing this in a car. Hopefully everyone can hear me very clearly. I am also the MRCA Youth Chief for this term, 2020 to 2021, and together with Michael is our main counsel from MRCA. So very happy to have everyone here to join us in this talking about the double-digit growth. Okay, so well, when I first was invited by Fusionex to talk about our double-digit growth, actually my first response to them was, "You mean double-digit drop? Is it?" Because during the COVID. we are not experiencing double-digit growth. We are experiencing double-digit drop, but then it stirred my mind a little bit. But okay, we have happened to stumble across other businesses that has experienced double-digit growth because it's a new business from the get-go, from the scratch. So that is something I would like to share about. But before that, I think as a retailer from the MRCA, our members who are listening to this, I think most of you have experienced the situation where Mr. Jacob just now had mentioned. I'm not sure about everyone, but myself, I think I'm at the, for every retailer, I felt that whenever we pass through like 3 outlets, 10 outlets, and 15 outlets, every level gives their own sets of challenges. And that is where we stumble across this what do you call that, a block where we need to go past, to achieve the next level. So I have stumbled across this block at number 15 and I'm still stuck at it. So I would like to be like, Mr. Michael here and Mr. Terry here, having 50, 100, 200 outlets, but I can't seem to go past this 15. So it's been quite some years already. Then I do realize when times are good, we often be too contemplated and we do not, engage on other possibilities and explore. So we tend to just let the business run itself, and then okay, we make money, we do make good profit, and that's good. Then when we start to explore the what they call AI, the marketing, the social media, the whatnot, everything the internet has to offer, that's where we start questioning a lot. And how Mr. Jacob put it was very, very good. We have to have a unison because there comes the finger pointing exercise already. That's actually very true, and that's actually happened actually. And when that happened, everyone is questioning about the viability of that option, whether we are doing it right, whether ROI is justifiable, whether are we spending that money correctly. And that answer and that questions has never been answered. It's always been hanging about, and that's where our company would, have this stuck. I call it the moment of stuck. You get stuck in that moment, and you just continue to do whatever your business is doing at that time, and you can't go beyond that. So probably I would like to ask Mr. Michael, how do you go from 10, 20, 50, 80, 90, 100, then you go to, what's the number now, 300, maybe more than, I think it's definitely more than that. I can't remember, the number is too much also. So that's the thing that we retailers would like to look upon. So what happened was, I'm still stuck at that. But when MCO hits us, that is where all our outlets were forced to close. And there is no choice for us to not to look into the AI and the social marketing side of business already, because basically all your traditional methods has not been is rendered useless, is rendered obsolete already. You basically cannot open your shop and cannot do business. Profit is stopped, so we can't do anything. So here comes the double-digit growth that I thought about. So during the pandemic, I found, I kind of said, I look upon what I have in my business and what kind of things that I can use to generate more sales, not to say more sales, to generate a little bit of sales, like a lifeline. So I found a chili. Which I aptly named it Sambal Crunchy. So in that case, when I found this chili, it's a good product. It's a product that is beloved by my customers and all. But how do I market this product from my home? So being a traditionalist that has never explored the AI and the social media side of marketing, that was my very first trial on these things. I've been trying, but I never really put my heart into it. But during MCO, I think it was the whole entire 3 months for the first MCO, is where I have used every single avenue available on the platform. You name it: Shopee, Lazada, Facebook, WhatsApp. Those who are free, because we do not have any extra to splurge on. So I have been opting for the free platforms, and also using the the data that I've collected over the years on Facebook, on Instagram, on whatever source that I have been using. And that is when I found those data are very, very useful. That is when I took all this data and start using it to my advantage during the MCO. So what did I do during the MCO was that I sold my sambal. It's called Sambal Country, in a small packet of bottle, 180 gram. I sold this sambal by using only these free platforms, and to my friends and networks and to my customers, which I found their data within. And we created a new business line, to say. So that's a sense of where we have no experience or no knowledge about manufacturing or selling products. We had to force ourselves to do so. And by selling sambal only, we cannot cover the expenses of 15 outlets. So that is another challenge altogether. But we do what we got to do. That's where we keep selling and keep trying. And God bless, I've managed to sell about 6,000 bottles during the MCO alone, and using WhatsApp and Facebook only. I was happy with the number, but the number definitely is not able to sustain my whole business. So that was okay. So where do I go from there? Then onwards, happy to say my new partner, Mr. Terry from BMS Organic here. So when I have pushed the product so hard on social media, on the based on the data analytic and AI, whatever that is available to me, that is when Mr. Terry came to me also. Then we talked about it. Then we thought, hey, why don't we push this even further? We can build this. So my next business is with Mr. Terry. Actually, we have built a company with called Veggie Nation. It's a company that manufactures, paste, sambal, chili. That is the new way that we are moving into. That's why I told Fusionex, okay, oh, I think that I've got the double-digit growth. This is it. So when others are failing, the retail, my retail part are failing, the restaurants and all the outlets that are not able to operate, we have been pushing this and trying to maintain, pushing this brand, this sambal, and we are pushing this to all we can through the internet, through the virtual platform. So that's what we've been doing. And any of you who has been following us, actually I'm in red because they call me Sambal Low nowadays, and Mr. Terry, they call him Organic Low. We are doing this also with the viability of AI, the data analytics, and our customers, our people. We are pushing another brand, another form of identity, you know, to even further strengthen our company. And I think we, aside from waiting for MCO to be lifted and all our outlets to be recovered, which is quite a slim chance, but we still have that, you know, that belief that people will come back. But then again, I believe the traffic won't be as good as before. So I would not take much big chances with my retail outlets. I think this is the right time for me, at least, to really move into this AI. I've been wasting so many years not trying to understand how this could help us, but a short 1 year has really propelled me to push myself into really think how this data and AI can help boost our business. And believe me, it has. So the next challenge right now is how to push this and to push the business several fold bigger, maybe. So Terry, I think we have a good product in hand. We have a good system. We have a good company. So I think this will be our chance. And we always say, low like that thing $1. This is our motto. So definitely we are thinking our way out. We are doing everything we can. We will keep trying. And Fusionex, we hope your services, your data, and you could help us guide us through to this as well as a retailer. And hopefully, even without, now we are in CMCO, I'm looking at a little bit of light here, but I'm really hoping that we can create something much bigger than this. And I think we are on our right track. And this is it. This is it. So thank you very much. I think that's all I have to share for today. Thank you. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Mr. Alex, on a very inspiring story, moving from restaurant to finding a product to survive during this pandemic. Yeah, I was also invited to do a short gig by Alex to do ice cream with sambal crunchy. Interestingly, it's quite interesting and quite nice.
Thank you, Michael, for doing that with your brother Joshua.
It was a fun product. It was a fun move. I believe you found a lot of new customers for you, by the way, in Johor. I shared your products to my friends, and they're looking forward to for you to come to Johor as well. So
yes.
So let's move on to our third speaker. We have Mr. Terry Lee. He's the CEO of BMS Organic. Interesting this fella, because one of our very interesting share price owner also posted that BMS opened up in the Top Glove building recently. There's a Facebook post which made a buzz last few weeks. So let's invite Mr. Terry. Are you online?
Yes, hello, Michael. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, can everyone hear me? Okay, thank you, Michael, for introducing me. Okay, yeah, I have the, Mimi Top Growth is one of your shareholder as well. Well, that's good. Okay. All right. Okay, and then thank you for Sambalo. Actually, I need to address Alex as Sambalo right now. Okay. Thank you for being my partners. Actually, when Alex, when I first called to Alex, when I listened to about his sambal, I always have in mind that when he shared to me that there's a brand called Sriracha, they have sell this chili to all over the world. Then I told Alex as well, we have to sell sambal of Malaysia. We claim this sambal crunchy is born in Malaysia, and we hope that we can also sell to all over the world for sambal crunchy. So everyone, please support Sambalo. Okay, and help this brand to grow like our friend Michael, their Mary Brown brand. I think they are doing very well. They have made Malaysian proud, I would say that, because I think your access is many countries. So I think Also, Michael, please help Alex a bit, sell his samba in your chain as well, so that we can grow Samba Crunchy even further through his Malaysia brand. Okay, we hope that we have this collaboration, and this has been launched in BMS actually. I think we got a very good feedback for Samba Crunchy Mala Challenge, and a lot of customer ordering right now. Okay, so come back to our topic today. I think I have the same feeling like Alex when I think someone called me, I think Corinne or who, that text me that, hey, Terry, can I invite you to be a speaker of this double digit growth? Then I told Corinne, I have feel a bit guilty because I don't have double digit growth. So he said, then what do you have in double digit growth? I think, yes, e-commerce, I have double digit growth. I think, in fact, I have triple digit growth from my e-commerce. So she told me, okay, yeah, then you can share on this. Okay, then all right, I'll say I will share on that. Okay, so then to share on AI on my, how do I use AI in my business right now? I would say that I'm actually from information. I'm an IT guy. I've been preparing my company to be more AI oriented because during my study, I'm IT student that time, they already thought that was AI. They already thought it was big data. Okay, so but until the recent year, there are a lot of people talking about big data. I think most of you heard that big data. Then after big data, we heard about AI. Because without big data, we cannot have AI. Because we need to collect all the data only we can do decision. Like us, we are human that we need to collect all the input. We need to collect market information. Only we can do decision. Then what's next? So I think AI is actually artificial that replacing people. Some of the tasks that people do, then we can do decision by them. Okay, so for me, I'm really preparing on that because since I took over the management of BMS, because I'm from IT background, I standardize the system. I make the system can be duplicated. I starting to launch our loyalty system to collect data of customer so that it's easier for me to do customer service, and in future I can do more on artificial intelligence because as an IT background, we actually don't really like repetition job. We want things to move forward faster. We don't want to have just keep on repeating the same things. We left those the repeating job, leave the system to do it. Okay, we do something more meaningful, more valuable to the companies. Okay, so I'm actually collecting that, but just to tell the frankly, but I haven't used much AI in my company yet. I'm just using it as a data to reference and then to do decision and what my customer pattern yet. I yet to use it to start. Actually, my next step, I told my IT team, I told them what we need to do next is actually we have to collect the data of customer and we need to know when the customer finish consuming the product from us. Then we should tell them before they come to the shop and let them know, I know that this product has been consuming, is going to finish by next week. So I think it's time for you to buy. I think they will surprise the customer a lot. Okay. And then we know that, wow, what have you been buying? And then after you buy this product, I think you might have this problem because you're buying this product. We might recommend you to this and that. I think that is more to AI. Okay, so if a company is successfully doing this, I think what is happening right now is Facebook is, yes, like maybe even when you're talking, not to say that you do searching in Google, the next minutes you will see that advertisement or that particular information pop up in your Facebook already. That is actually they are studying us, collecting data of us, and they are recommending us things. So in fact, in our company as well, we should do that. Okay, so I'm planning to do that. I told my team that we should have that like another 1-2 years. If not, we will be left behind. Okay, we have to surprise our customer. We need to keep bringing surprise to our customer because if you're not surprising your customer, someone else will surprise your customer. Then you will lose the market. Okay, so this is what I'm doing right now. I hope that I can move forward to that. Okay, then come back to the triple digit growth of my e-commerce. I would like to, because this time I heard what Jacob said. I think Jacob is giving a very good idea about what you should unizone the 3 things that so you can get a very good growth and what decision making you should do into your marketing. And I think I wish to share about for now in Malaysian market to be more relative, it's easier for you to implement. Like let's say you are doing a marketing fund you do. One thing I still believe in customer service. I still believe in customer service. Why I have this triple digit growth? One of the key reasons is I'm setting out my customer service team during the pandemic. I try to give the best service to my customer. Let's say within 1 day I will send you the goods. And if you have any complaint or ask a question or query, we will have to answer you within 10 minutes. Okay, I set up a team of doing that. Okay, and then we'll always ensure you the freshness of our products, and we'll always ensure you get the best attention during the pandemic so that we have a good growth. Because I still believe in no matter what kind of marketing you are doing, the word of mouth is still the most important aspect we need to look into it. Okay, so actually that recently I read an article that I read this article before and come back to me again. It's actually telling about instead of you're selling to 1,000 people, you should think of you're selling to 100 people, but you sell them another 10 times. So when you achieve this, that means you are doing a great customer service. Okay, then you're adding value to your customer because they're willing to come back to your shop or your e-commerce shop or your offline shop for 10 times. Instead of you're spending a lot of marketing budget to find the 1,000 people. Okay, so I think that's the thing that I wish to share about marketing and AI. I think as a human, we still have to look into this aspect, adding value to our customers. Okay, and then one more thing I wish to share as well, because I do business in China before. China, frankly speaking, is all about AI. Even I call to the bank, I'm talking to a robot. Okay, I go to a lot of places, always talking to robot in Shanghai. Okay, but there's two key things, because I think most of us they are listening to this talk. We are retailer or we are F&B operators. I realize that there's two things that why offline or why those online company they're still buying offline, like Alibaba is still buying KFC. Okay, then why Alibaba still come and open the Hema Shenzhen? Okay, there's one chain supermarket they are opening that's doing very well, because they know that most of the sale is still from offline. Okay, 90% of the sale is still from offline, so they have to come back to offline. But one key thing they need to be very emphasized is customer service. Another thing that your feeling, your training of your staff, and also the environment of your shop, we have to really look into it. Then only we can do well in both online and offline. So I think that's the thing that I wish to share about AI. And then just now Michael also mentioned about, well, I'm doing some very big hoo-ha in KL for the organic farm. Okay, just to share a bit about this farm. Okay, I'm actually in the farm right now. It's very windy right now because the background I'm using the Fusionex and MRCA. If not, I will open up and let you see the farm right now. I'm working in the farm most of the time right now. Recently I set up a farm in KL area, which we can reach to this organic farm, and you can dine in, you can buy product, and most important, this organic farm is more to education, and which I wish to bring nature nearer to our concrete world, and our future generation. I mean, our next generation, your kids can come here to experience outdoor, not always on digital. Sometimes we have to go to connect to nature. Okay, and then also we wish to instill them with all the health knowledge and also how we should protect our Mother Earth. That's what I'm doing right now in KL area for this organic farm. Then now to say you enjoy very fresh and organic food here, then you will like it and you get back to your original taste. Doesn't need to be always with grapes. I mean, a lot of seasoning. Okay, I think our MRCA Teoh, also our president here, she's here also. Okay, I think she loves our food as well, and then she enjoy the organic coffee here as well. Okay, I think actually in farm as well, I think recently I just talked to some tech giant as well. We have to move, we cannot just always, like organic farm, you cannot just stagnant there, we have to move forward as well. I think I'm talking to the tech giant also, they want to collect data from our farm as well, so that even though it's organic, it depends on the nature. But once you're collecting, there's more data, then we know when to sow the seed, when to make it grow better, when we should collect, how many days already. Okay, so I think big data also will implement into agriculture, and actually, in fact, it's happening in China as well. So I'm trying to talk to this tech giant. They are interested in us as well. So they want to install some maybe 5G things in our shop, in our farm. Then we see how we can help to grow organic crops. Okay, so to tell this, I think even agriculture, everything cannot run away from technology right now. And with the technology and data, we can decide, we can do a better decision with that. So we have to adapt to it. And also at the same time, for those that are running offline, we still can do it well. Just make sure, just not the three aspects that which I learned from China. or customer service, your environment, okay, you have to really look into it, okay, and your training to yourself. Okay, so I think that's all I wish to share. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Terry. There's a very interesting sharing from you. I'm also looking forward to cross the state and join you guys in KL. And
Welcome. I'm waiting for you as well, Michael.
interesting to
Challenge
hear
again.
the tech giant that's willing to collect data on your farm. I think that's something interesting because the urban farming is actually a new topic. I think most of us have heard that cities like Hong Kong and Singapore, they're using the rooftop for urban farming. But those are driven by big data. Those are driven by analytics that's collected from many years from traditional farming. So let's move on to the new topic, to the new speaker first before we move on to the Q&A. So with us here, Mr. Darren. He's the publisher for the Page magazine. So Darren, are you online?
Yes, can you hear me? Thank you, Michael. Yeah, very insightful sharing from Jacob, Alex, and Terry. Okay, today I would like to share how artificial intelligence is transforming the media industry from a perspective of a publisher. So actually the concept of artificial intelligence has been mentioned since 1956, but during the time it's not so popular or not so well known yet, but only until lately, because of our computer processing power, our storage capabilities, and the rates of information exchange on the internet has been so well, doing so good and so strong. So that created this growth of information technology and new age media. So what is AI? A lot of people, they are curious about what AI can do for them. So AI is actually a set of algorithm behind a computer that think like human or mimic their actions. So it's imitation of human intelligence. Then we can make use of that to help us to achieve our goal, that is to achieve our sales. Okay. And when you talk about AI actually in media industry has been playing a very important role. So it transformed the media business, like impacting every single stage from content creation to consumer experience. So even I myself, I use AI technology in my business. Lately, I venture into skincare business as well. Then I deploy AI in my business. So I can see the difference of using AI and without AI, especially in media industry. When you are talking about delivering content to the right target audience, we need AI technology to help with that. Like, for example, the Page magazine, from pre-production to post-production, as well as distribution of content, we rely heavily on AI. Yeah. So AI, not only that, I think like for our readers or our users, or even myself, finding, navigating, and storing content has becoming very easy with AI. I think human is kind of like difficult to achieve that because we have our limitation. So we can do it very fast and easily with the technology, with the help of AI. Yeah. So you can see a lot of the new media, we call it new age media, like Netflix, like for example, like Facebook and Twitter. They rely very heavily on AI to deliver the message. A lot of people ask me, since I'm doing traditional media and there are so many new media in the market, like all these different apps, how can we survive? To me, I think that traditional media and new media can coexist together. So new media, like new digital and electronic form of media, have evolved from the traditional media. The coexistence of traditional media and new media allow the media content to flow across various platforms, widening access to information and creating a participatory culture where you can see a lot of readers, a lot of netizens they not only consume information, they also actively participate in its production and distributions. So traditional media tend to be a bit longer with the content and give a full picture of the stories. So older generation, they like it. And the new media, they are short, straight to the point. So young people love it. So if we can combine the new media and the traditional media, if they can work together, I think this can maximize the reach. So we tend to move towards new media, but we cannot neglect the traditional media. And as a publishing house, a media house, I fully rely on AI as well, and all this new technology to deliver our message and articles and content to our audience. So that is something that I would want to highlight, because old media, traditional media, and new media, no matter you like whichever media, but we rely heavily on AI to help us to boost our sales and to reach our target audience. Yeah. So that's what I want to share. And also to summarize everything, I think AI is constantly evolving in every sector of life. So like every one of us, we use gadget, we use apps, we cannot run away from AI. And we also do a lot of online purchase. Like for example, the business that I lately ventured into, Evocare, we are 100% relying on online business model. So we rely heavily on AI as well to reach to our target audience. So this encourage online purchase, and we also use Google Map. All this, the technology behind is AI functioning that help us to achieve the goal. So even today, a lot of people, like 100 million people, we talk on Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri. All these are voice-driven AI assistants that we are using. So we cannot run away from AI, and we must make use of AI to help us to achieve the goal that we want. And I believe moving forward in the future, the reliance on AI will be even higher. So thank you, everyone. This is something that I would like to share. And if you'd like to know more about the page, we are also available online, social media like Facebook and IG. So even though we are traditional media, but we also rely on the new age media to achieve our goal. So yes. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
That's a very good sharing on coming from the media industry. It's good to hear that. I think you have also mentioned a little bit about the traditional publishing and also new age publishing should be fused together, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for the session. We'll move on to the Q&A part. So I'm just looking at the chat here. There's no one asking questions yet. I'm giving the audience some time. I do receive a couple of questions directly to my phone. I would like to ask the first question to Mr. Jacob, Fusionex. Is that okay? Can we spotlight Mr. Jacob here, the handsome man? Yeah, the only one that's better looking than me in this group. I'm sorry, Alex and Terry. So yeah, let me ask. I want to ask a very. I want to ask a question. Okay, so I'm also doing. My company is 40-year-old, and there's a lot of traditional business in Malaysia. I'm sure Jacob knows about this. For us to transit into this new age and modernize, adapting into AI marketing, right? Of course, as a traditional businessman, I would just say I'll invest and get an IT department. I'll buy the software. I'll invest in certain things. Money, capital, let's say, is there. However, I don't really grasp the whole thing. What would you advise for those traditional businessmen, and the simplest way for them to understand that to set up I think you mentioned about the 3 parts: marketing, analytics, and also e-store, right? Even Maribon, we're also exploring. We are thinking to even open our own e-store if possible. How would you advise the traditional businessman? How do we start off, Jacob?
Right. Thanks, Michael, for the very kind and generous compliment. I think we are all very good-looking chaps here. I think that's a beautiful question that you asked about in terms of how do we do this as traditional businesses. And when you look at these various pillars, whether it's e-commerce, online e-store, or whether it's analytics and AI or marketing, these are areas which requires very substantial investment. If you look at just e-stores, the ongoing investments that go into e-commerce today, it's in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars for the platform itself. I think most of the time people underestimate the platform and they think that you can spend like 50K, 60K to build a platform that can run very smoothly and support your transactions. Well, that is totally wrong. If you do that, you will hit a roadblock at a certain point of time where you cannot enhance that platform. And the reason why you are able to launch an e-store very quickly with minimal costs as promised by many freelancers or vendors is because they are using some open source, readily available templates, which bootstraps development, and rightfully you can launch the e-store very quickly. But like I said, at some point of time, you will find that you cannot enhance further because the entire architecture is just not scalable or robust enough. So you will not be able to cope with the needs and demands of the market in time to come. So in order to do that properly, you need to have a team that is sized up and experienced enough to build reusable components and assets within the software architecture that can scale to meet the demands of time and to meet the demands of very fickle customers, very different generations of customers. So that's easily on a yearly basis, we're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not then millions of dollars in terms of investment. And when you look at analytics and AI, if you're going to build an analytics and AI engine, that would be also very challenging, and that would require investments in the millions easily because AI engines, it takes quite a while to build and develop if you're going to start from scratch. So at the end of the day, traditional companies are focused on their businesses. They are very good in F&B, they're very good in manufacturing, they're very good in retail, and some form of business that they have been striving up across the many years. But technology itself is a totally different animal. If you talk about AI, you need to first and foremost build connectivity to the various source systems. And that can be in the form of SAP connectors, Oracle connectors, Microsoft or SQL Server connectors. Once you have the connectivity, then you need to ingest and manage the data, and that itself is a very heavy exercise as well. Then you need to visualize it, and you need to apply artificial intelligence on top of that, which is about modeling and data science models, which will be also very, very intensive in terms of effort. So easily analytics and AI, if a new outfit tries to build on their own, we are talking about millions easily, for sure. And when we talk about marketing itself, that's also very heavy investments because whether it's traditional marketing or whether it's digital marketing, they don't come cheap. And we know that it's very expensive because you have to do it day in, day out on a daily, monthly basis. So in a nutshell, all these components are not for the faint of heart. It is very expensive. And the way to do this, to achieve good results, yet with good cost efficiency, is to rely on the economies of scale. So by working with partners and vendors out there who are willing to support you with such technologies, they have the economies of scale. They have these assets. They have these e-commerce stores. They have the analytics and AI engine. They are experienced in marketing. They have access to a lot of marketing aggregators, whether it's traditional print media or whether it's billboards or even digital content. So if you can amalgamate all this together under one roof, and work with this amalgamator, this aggregator, then they can give you economies of scale, and not just in terms of cost efficiency, but you can go to market very, very quickly because these components exist instead of you trying to build all of this from scratch and own all these different solutions, which is, by the way, should not be the focus of businesses because they are supposed to be experts in their products, in their solutions, in their services. They're not supposed to build an IT team that is so well sized up and it becomes very heavy where it creates more data sets and more complexity. And to maintain that team becomes very expensive and it's hard to attract good talent as well. And as we all know, IT talent, data science talent, data engineering talents are not cheap. And they're very demanding in terms of what they're looking for in the market. So they would find it very hard to not just attract this good talent, but to retain them within the organization. And hence, the quick answer to this question is to try to work with competent and cooperative partners to see how you can get everyone to invest a bit and get everyone to have a bit of skin in the game, but profit and benefit from it in the long run and leverage on the economies of scale. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting point you mentioned, because some of the traditional businessmen is thinking to build their own team. No, whenever we try to save money, we always try to do things in-house. I don't know whether most of you have this experience, but I do have that on Johor lah. Johor, we have those very big businessmen. Some even speak only Hokkien or Teochew, but they're fantastic. They're worldwide big players. However, when we talk about IT and building this analytics on all this, right? I think you hear something very interesting. A note is that we can use third parties and also work with partners. This is something that we should also share with all our members in MRCA, that we don't really have to spend so much time and resources just to build from ground up. Is that what you're trying to say, Mr. Jacob? That we actually
Exactly.
can somebody else as good as you are from your company that can help us to get the data and build the channel that we want. Okay. So
precisely. So, sorry, in our organization, we have cultivated these assets and these products, whether it's an e-commerce store, whether it's analytics and AI, and how to work on digital content and digital marketing. So this is what we've done for the past 15 years. Likewise, for traditional businesses, if they are in manufacturing or they are selling a certain product, we should not compete with them and create that and reinvent the wheel altogether. It's probably more efficient to partner.
Okay, sounds good. I think you answered a lot of very interesting questions. I know how to answer some of my members also. I saw there's a Q&A posted, there's a question posted. He asks, are there any ethical concerns in AI marketing? Example, Facebook and WhatsApp. I believe the question is asking based on, I think when we collect data and we use it for our marketing work, is there any ethical issues? Which gentleman would like to answer on this question? Or should we go back to Mr. Jacob, since you're the SME, subject matter expert? Is that okay? Mr.
Sure,
Jacob?
I can take that. So when we talk about marketing, it's about reaching out to the right prospects at the right time, the right place, and the right people. I think that's very important. And how do we know? It is based on information that they have shared. It is based on preferences and behavioral patterns that they have shared online. So it's a very fine line in terms of data privacy and confidentiality, but we have been able to do this very successfully. And the guiding principle is fairly simple. You only analyze based on data that is public. So anything that is private and personal, then behind the private walls, you should not analyze those data. You should not encroach into those territories. What people share online on YouTube, what people share online willingly on Facebook, in terms of their lifestyle, what kind of cakes they've been eating. They just bought a new car for their wife, for example, and they're happy and proud about that occasion. So that kind of data you can mine, and that kind of data you can use to see how you can target and send to them good promotions and good products that meets their needs, because it is, after all, information that they share very willingly. No one forced them to share those information, and they are at liberty to bring it offline as and when they want, if they feel that it's something which they no longer want to keep it public. So the moment you choose to hack into accounts and the moment you choose to encroach into private walls and private territories, that I think that's where it gets to be really tricky, and that's something that we stay away from. So we do everything which is the proper way to make sure that we adhere to PDPA, GDPR policies, to make sure that we do not encroach into very dangerous and very conflicting territories, so that whatever data that is made known to the public is something that we can leverage upon, we can mine, and we can use that. And that's enough, to be really honest, because public data forms more than 90% of the data that is out there. So if you can just leverage on data that is made publicly available and willingly available, that should be good enough in terms of providing insights and trends.
Sounds good. Then that answers that particular question. That means it's actually public information, right?
That's right.
It's public information, and there's not much ethical issue. I said there's no ethical issue. Sorry, there's no ethical issue on this part. So
that's
we
right.
have time for one more question. I think we have one more question over here. It says, is it all right for business or companies to stick to the traditional business model? I think he meant that during this new industry revolution, should we stick to the new business model, or should we stick to the traditional business model? Can I ask this to Alex, since he has pivoted into a product? Maybe he can share a little bit on this part.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I was looking at the question too, actually. It's very interesting to see because it clearly resonates with myself as well. So I think traditional business method also depends on which, likewise, let's say, okay, like myself, recipe wise, you're talking about the food, whatever you're making. Of course, you have to maintain that traditional, I don't know, recipe, the way of doing that product. Like Terry mentioned about the services that he provides. Those traditional way we can't lose that traditional way. Of course, we have to maintain. But then again, let's say I have a good product like my sambal crunchy. Let's say, okay. So that good product itself, I'm using a traditional method to maintaining it, and I'm still using traditional method to market it, to try to sell it. That itself proved it very challenging, very challenging, because like what Mr. Jacob first mentioned just now, AI helped us to focus on the customers and what kind of customers that we are selling to, or what kind of flavors that this customer want, what kind of flavor that customer want. Can he take spicy? Can he not take spicy? Or is this area selling better? Is that area selling better? So with that being in mind, it will be you have a good product, but by using traditional selling method, probably you are like hitting, I don't know what they call it, jarum dalam laut lah. It's like you're hitting everywhere with a shotgun, right? So you can't. It's very random, and you can't hit it very precisely. So that itself proved to me is like a waste of resources, waste of energy sometimes, and the way you market it is also very tiring. Okay, so you can't really replicate the quadruple the effect, the results and whatnot. But with AI, with data analytic, with the, like I mentioned, I sold it through Facebook, through WhatsApp, to customers who have already tasted and liked my product, and they have a very close connection to these kind of products. So when I approach them, the sales gone right off. They will just take the product and say, no problem, just give me. They go like 3, 4 bottles, 5 bottles, things like that. And when they like it, they come back for more. And even better, they like it and they become an agent. And they start selling my products to their other customers that, or maybe other people that they can find. So this is the kind of thing that I think if you're gonna stick with traditional method, yes, by producing the product and might not, those are really what they can say old school. Those are the things that people like. Or those are traditional, but in terms of marketing and selling it, I think it's safer for us to really go beyond and don't swim in the Red Sea anymore. Look beyond the blue sea, and yeah, just try to evolve. And not to try to evolve. I think you must evolve in times like this. You must evolve. I think that's not a choice anymore at this point. Am I right? All other panelists?
Yeah, you're right. Yes. And I think choosing the right partner is very important. Like there are so many strategies or digital strategies or marketeer out in the market. How do we know sometimes as a retailer, or maybe we would want to try out AI or how to use AI to market our products? But that is something that we are facing sometimes, that choosing the right partner to help us to reach our goal. Yeah, so this may be, Jacob, you can advise us. Yeah.
Sure. I think in terms of partnerships, it's a combination of 3 elements. Number 1 is reputation in the market. Number 2 is synergy and chemistry based on your dealings and your interaction with them. And number 3, I think, is about confidence of the partner, because when you have a certain task or mission that you set out to achieve, and every company has a different mission that they're trying to accomplish when they're talking to a partner, the partner might not have the necessary confidence to achieve a certain mission. And they are usually quite open about it, either by words or by body language. So I think if they are not very confident about it, then it's best for them not to undertake the project. So I think in a nutshell, it's quite easy today to find partners who are willing to work together with you and to achieve the common goal. And there are many ways to work together. It's not just a one-off fee. It could be subscription where it's a bit more OPEX, or it could be rev share and profit share where everyone's got skin in the game together. So I think to forge a partnership that is mutually beneficial and can be a long-run strategy is definitely more beneficial than trying to accomplish and rebuild everything from scratch and reinvent the wheel. And it works both ways, I suppose.
Yeah. I agree.
Hi, Jacob. So maybe I have a question for you. Because I think
Sure.
recently one of my partners do talk to Fusionex. Okay, and just to friendly tell you that it didn't work out. Just to let you know, because I did listen to what you said, because data analysts and I mean those people they are studying AI, they're quite costly on that. I just have a small request that it might be from Fusion. Actually, we believe in Fusionex, and I think a lot of us are suffering outside. Maybe you should have some consideration like what you are talking about just now. You said profit sharing. So maybe Fusionex can come up with a special scheme. I think most of the MRCM members right now, they need it. They don't dare to pour out more money to put into marketing or whatever. Frankly speaking, we are very concerned on our expenses right now. So, but if someone pops up and tell us, we come and get together from the market, which people need it, and we come out, we got the market and we share the profit, I think you'll get super good response from most of the, not only MRCM members, I think there will be more. I just sharing just something I want to say. Like let's say Sambalo. I know Sambalo wishes use your service very much. Okay.
You will have 2 here already.
You have 2. No, I think there's more. When it comes to you, maybe
my own company 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So just maybe like profit sharing scheme might it might be a good idea for people that are suffering right, because I believe AI technology definitely is a trend that we need to use it. It's just that, like you say, traditional businessmen they don't look into it, because when they look at, oh, you have to spend sub-China 20,000 a month. Okay, like for you, yes, you have to spend on that 50,000, 100,000. But for SME business or people that are not used to tech, they don't tend to spend. But when you come to that, let's get the money from the market together. I think there might be a breakthrough for Fusionex, I think, because I believe that you have a huge, like you said, just not economy of skill that you have mentioned. You already have an economy of skill. Maybe you can spend a small skill for the group of people that are suffering right now.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing, Terry. I think price point is always a very important topic, without which the partnership cannot be forged. And at Fusionex, we have a lot of modes of collaboration. So we work on a subscription mode, managed services mode. We work on a rev share mode and a hybrid mode where it consists of both rev share and subscription. So there are many ways on how we can collaborate. When we evaluate a business, it is important to understand the cost drivers behind it, because if we go on a rev share mode, then we need to understand what is our running costs and what would be your running costs as well. And if the percentage of rev share is something that is feasible on your side, but it's meaningful for us as well. As you can imagine, like I mentioned, when you are trying to maintain an online e-store, when you're trying to maintain an AI model or analytics engine, and when you're trying to invest in digital marketing or traditional marketing, that's a lot of dollar signs for these 3 pillars. And that's why sometimes you might find that managed services or the fees that will be required to support this could be hefty, it could be light, depending on the kind of investments that you're looking for. But at the same point of time, if there is no upfront investment, if it is a rev share model, then the percentage will need to be able to support these kind of running costs on our end if we are undertaking this running costs in terms of the maintenance of the e-store, in terms of the analytics and the marketing as well. So I think it's important that we can find that very sweet spot where it is feasible for you or for SMEs that are looking out to partner together with Fusionex or any of the vendors out there, and it's meaningful enough for us. And that involves a bit of qualification that we believe in the business, we believe in the products that you have, and there are very good products out there in the market. Malaysia has got great products and
like
excellent
Sambal Crunchy.
services.
Maybe
like
you can
Sambal
consider
Crunchy.
Sambal Crunchy
And like DMS.
to be the next Sriracha.
Absolutely, absolutely. We should talk after this. Yeah.
Sure.
You
So I
want to
think
rename
if we
this
can,
talk to some marketing? Anyways, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay, thanks,
no
Jacob.
worries.
Thanks for the
Yeah.
explanation. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Yeah.
gentlemen, we have reached the end of our session. I think that's it for today. I don't see any questions. I think we will skip the last one because the time is up. Shall we do a group photo before we end? Han, are you there? Would you like to open up for us to take photo with everyone?
Yep, yeah, everyone is good. Everyone is good. Just make a good pose.
All right, sure. We do a thumbs or just smile to the camera.
Whichever you all prefer.
Do you want to invite the participants as well?
I'm never able to. I'm never able to. Only the panelists.
All right, sure. 1, 2,
3, 2, 1. Okay, got it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See
See
you around.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
See you.
everyone.